Clang Invasion is an animated TV show made by YTV in 2009. YTV made shows like Mr. Young, the weird show about a 14-year-old who becomes a teacher and spends the whole show pining after one of his students. That show really weirded me out as a kid. They also made Grossology, Kid vs. Cat, and Mona the Vampire, which I recently covered on the channel. Clang Invasion ran for a single season with 26 episodes. The show was about 3 aliens, Rivet, Widget, and Socket, who crash land in the tree of a suburban home owned by the Harrisons. The siblings Daisy and Robin go to investigate the crash and they find the aliens. They agree to hide the aliens in their backyard. They also give their dog Sam a voice box so he can talk. The parents never notice a talking dog. They do not try and hide it that much.
Sam ate our homework and it tasted like sausage. Don't worry, we'll set the table.
The pilot throws you straight into the show with their insanity. All the main characters are chewing gum. Robin says he wishes gum didn't lose its flavour after a couple of chews. So Rivet tries to build a device that reflavors it, but it doesn't work. So Daisy suggests they build a time machine instead so they can go back to when the gum had flavour. They would just be in a continuous loop of unflavoured and flavoured gum, but oh well. Rivet tells them he had plans for a time machine, but it's back on his home planet, Planet Clang. So Rivet sends out a probe to get his plans from Clang. The probe ends up crashing into a spaceship owned by Daryl the Destroyer and damaging his windshield. For breaking his windshield, he vows to destroy the entirety of Earth.
That's the most fiercest intergalactic overlord in the universe!
They then try and come up with ways to save the Earth, their first idea being put a moustache and glasses and a hat on the planet to disguise it so Daryl can't find it. Somehow no one on Earth notices they do this, and surprisingly, that doesn't work. They then made giant copies of the Earth to try and trick Daryl, but he blew up both of them. Somehow no one on Earth notices that either. I feel like 2 giant things appearing outside of Earth would probably not only be noticed, but also have consequences because the moon affects the Earth. So what would 2 giant Earth-sized balls do to the Earth? Daryl arrived and he is tiny and not as threatening as the rumors made him out to be, considering his name is Daryl the Destroyer. Then he says, prepare to be destroyed or pay me to fix my windshield. Rivet then pays him.
Have you got change for a Gebloogie?
Well played.
And Daryl the Destroyer leaves. I mean, I assume the Earth didn't get blown up in the very first episode, but that was an underwhelming ending after he blew up 2 fake Earths and then he just went, hey, give me some money. I would like to remind you that the whole episode started with chewing gum. Robin points out that he still does not have flavour in his gum, and then Socket suggests you just chew another piece of gum, which solves the problem. I like the pilot personally. It perfectly encompasses what this show is, which is random. Gum losing its flavour almost led to the Earth being vaporized, and that's just a normal day to these people. It introduces us to one of the reoccurring antagonists, Daryl, and it shows you the main dynamics of everything. One of the kids have a problem, Rivet builds an invention to do something about it, and that almost leads to planetary distraction. When I do a video about a show, I like to look at episodes that focus on the key characters, or what I deem the key characters, because what the writers intended and what I deem as important characters might differ. So I'm going to go to different episodes that I feel like expand the characters, starting with Robin. Robin is the younger of the Harrison kids. He is more spontaneous and goofy compared to his sister. Robin is portrayed as the less intelligent of the 2 siblings, and apparently that really bothers him, as shown in the episode Alien Happy Fun Time, which is about Daisy and Robin being on some form of game show. Daisy has been carrying her team on her back, so she is going to volunteer to be in the final round. Then Robin beats her to the punch and loses the game for them. Then Robin becomes desperate to prove that he is not as dumb as everyone thinks he is. Robin becomes upset and sulks for a while, whilst the others try and cheer him up as he's watching intergalactic TV on the TV that the robots have. He stumbles across an alien game show called Alien Happy Fun Time.
Have you let everyone around you down? Are you a total loser? Here's your chance at redemption and to win
and decides to sign them all up for it. Turns out that if they don't win, they get frozen solid into carbon-minium statues, and the game show does not go how Robin plans, and everyone else wins the round apart from Robin. The only thing Robin does is get them eaten alive. The final round is a trivia round, and Robin volunteers yet again to do it, and it turns out he's competing against the smartest being in the universe. Unsurprisingly, the giant brain creature is beating the child at trivia, Robin finally hits the buzzer before the brain and he's asked about the Big Bang. And as you can tell by all of his team readying themselves to be turned into statues, they all have total faith in him. No sarcasm whatsoever. Robin ends up rambling stupidity, which short circuits the alien, and they win by default. Robin's lack of intelligence is a constant insecurity for him. It is brought up again in the episode Everything Learn Learn Learn. Rivet gives him a device that makes him smarter, but he gets it reversed because there's too many things in his brain. Robin being dumb is a great way to balance out Daisy's more conniving personality. Daisy's portrayed as a smart one of the siblings. She is not a genius by any means, but she is often the one to figure out how to fix the problems that they have caused.
I can't stand to see him like this.
One of the key ways Daisy is different from her brother is she has her own dedicated antagonist, Harriet, whereas all the other antagonists the two siblings share. We are introduced to Harriet in the episode Queen Bumblebee. Daisy is a part of a group called the Bumblebee, and just as she is about to show the other members her new doll, a limo arrives carrying no other than Harriet Suffington, and Daisy is ignored as she shows the rest of them all the resort she has for her doll. They all go into the meeting and the girls are told to sell cookies, and the girls who sells the most cookies will be crowned Bumblebee Queen and get a new accessory for the doll, Susie. Harriet wins every year and Daisy is determined to dethrone her, but every idea Daisy has is one up by Harriet. Daisy is performing with her brother and the robots sell cookies, and Harriet shows up with an entire stage and a professional rapper with her to sell cookies.
Bumblebee cookies!
Yo, buy her cookies.
Daisy opens a circus to sell cookies. Harriet makes a reality TV show to sell cookies. Daisy figures out the only way that she can win is to sell cookies to the intergalactic cookie lovers, and she wins the title of Queen Bee. Harriet tries to steal her thunder by telling her,
That said last Friday mid-afternoonish. Did you get the memo? The new pink is purple.
and Daisy does this, and that apparently wins it for her, and Harriet drives off. Harriet appeared a couple other times to upset Daisy in the series, and is tied with Daryl as the best antagonist, in my personal opinion. Whilst researching this video, I kept seeing the same misinformation, and I would like to rectify it. In the episode Two Dads Are Better Than One, it is report card day, and Robin is scared after his principal tells him he has to bring his parents to school because his report card was that bad. The siblings get home and Daisy gives her parents her report card, and she is celebrated. Robin says he did not get his.
Kids in my grade didn't get report cards this year.
That implies these two are in two separate grades. Every website I visited said these two were twins, and it bothered me so much because throughout the show Daisy is portrayed as older. So I just wanted to point it out. Unless he got held back here and they are twins, she's just an older twin, but they never said that.
Robin, you've had months to do your family tree. I had the same project last year and look what I did.
Now I want to talk about the robots in the show, these guys. The way most of these episodes go is one of the kids is having some form of issue in their lives, be that chickenpox, nightmares, or the kids want something, like popularity or knowledge. Rivet is always the one who builds something so that the kids can get what they want. Most of Rivet's inventions malfunction in some way, so I find it funny how he is considered such a great inventor on his home planet. As shown to us in the episode The Road to Invention, when we are informed he has won the Intergalactic Inventor 400 years in a row. Most of the time, Rivet is shown as a happy-go-lucky inventor,
For his extra bouncy pogo stick, and in second is Griff Curly with his cure for the common cold.
but in the episode Robin Boy Genius, we see him in a different light. When Robin has to take credit for Rivet's invention so that they can claim the prize for it, because Rivet can't claim it because he's an alien, Robin ends up getting all these gifts and appears on TV and becomes really famous, and that really angers Rivet because he's getting all the attention that he's meant to be getting. Now to talk about the other robot. This might be mean, but Widget and the Socket are really not needed in this show. All the episodes are either about Daisy, Robin, or Rivet. This show could have worked with just one alien. If you gave half of Socket's line to Sam, the talking dog, you would not notice that their characters have switched. Their characters serve the exact same function of bad things happen to me and it's funny. That is what happened to both of these characters. There's no real difference other than species. The amount of episodes that are solely focused on either Widget or Socket are 2. Daryl the Destroyer has more episodes dedicated to him than both of these two combined. Rivet is the inventor out of the 3, and he is the reason most of the crazy antics are possible in the show. Widget is the navigator of the ship ship and the reason that they crash landed on Earth. But if you change the reason that they crash landed to Rivet was traveling and ran out of gas and there's nothing similar to the fuel that exists on Earth, so he couldn't leave, then that completely erases the need for Widget. And Socket just explodes. Earl is probably one of the most interesting characters in this show. You would think it would be one of the main characters, but no. Whenever he appears on screen, he steals the episode. Earl is the Harrison's neighbor who also goes to school with them. He's obsessed with aliens and believes the government is after him because he knows too much about aliens. I mean, he's not crazy, it's right. There are aliens among them. He's just not great at spotting them. In the episode Earl Files, the episode starts next door to the Harrison's household. In Earl's house, Earl is bustling around his sidekick Larry about making sure he's got the camera ready to film the most important scientific discovery ever. Earl tells Larry he got photographic evidence of aliens and they need to record a video before the picture gets developed and arrives at the house. Evidence of his discovery, he wants to film the day that he discovered it in something called the Earl Files. The entire episode is just Earl missing the actual aliens in his neighbor's garden over and over again. At one point they have a meeting of his alien finding club at school. Not only do Daisy and Robin attend this, but the robots do too, and he doesn't clock that they're aliens.
I created a device to help us detect aliens by what? They said they wanted to find aliens, so I... Right! Yeah, this doesn't work.
At one point, Daryl shows up at Earl's door. Earl just thinks he's some kid raising money for a hockey team because he has shoulder pads. And oh, the reason Daryl is there in the first place is to borrow a wrench to fix his ship that crashed when he was trying to destroy the Earth. Earl laughed into Daryl's face after he told him his evil plan, saying an alien would come up with something better than that. Then this happens. Here we also meet Earl's parents, who are totally normal. Nothing of interesting happening here. Moving on. He goes to confront Daisy and Robin about the lights he saw in their garden the night before, but they say they have no idea what he's talking about. And as Earl leaves, Daryl attacks the treehouse, and he just doesn't notice this again. Earl arrives home, and his pictures are there, and he's so excited about the blurry mess that he misses the actual alien invasion.
Larry, space, an inky blackness of emptiness, or is it full of icky nasty aliens whose sole purpose is to find Earth and enslave humanity?
You would think the entire day would be a success because Larry, his sidekick, has been filming it all. You know, the actually exciting stuff. And it turns out Larry didn't put in any film in the camera. So none of what just happened that day was recorded. I mean, thankfully for the aliens, really bad for Earl.
Funny how they could get the tape out of the camera and back into the wrapper without you seeing it. Yeah, funny.
I would also like to mention their parents don't know they have aliens living in their back garden. How little attention do you have to pay to your children to not notice their random treehouse that just appeared in the garden one day? I looked it up. Robin and Daisy are pretty young, under the age of 10. They did not build it, but their parents never questioned where the treehouse came from, even though they didn't build it. It's like in Christmas movies when the random presents turn up in their house and parents don't question how they got there. It's either Santa is real or someone broke into your house. I mean, Santa is also breaking into your house, but that's expected each year. But these parents just never question it at all, ever. Another case of showing they don't pay enough attention to their children. In one episode, the kids replace themselves with jelly clones and the parents don't notice that their children are green. I think the only thing they notice is that they weren't fighting as much, but then Sam, their talking dog that they also do not notice, pretends to be the voice of the children arguing.
Why are you kids being so quiet?
This is hitting me.
Robin's a cat or something.
Oh, that's better.
These two are not winning parents of the year. If you have made it this far in the video, leave a like and subscribe for more opinions on kids shows that I am always overthinking. When this show was recommended to me, I thought it was going to be Invader Zim vibes, and it would be the robots trying to take over the Earth and the kids stopping them. But no, I was wrong. I made that assumption because it's called Clang Invasion. I watched every single episode of Clang Invasion. There was no invasion. Well, that's a lie. There was an invasion attempt, but not by the Clang. The only alien that attempted to invade and enslave the Earth was Daryl the Destroyer. Daryl, as I mentioned earlier, is a recurring character throughout the show, introduced in episode 1. As shown earlier, in the episode Pause and Order, Daryl returns to try and rule the Earth. Pause and Order starts with the kids' DVD player breaking, and Rubik comes with another amazing flawless idea and upgrades the DVD player. He decides to improve the pause button, it not only freezing the TV, but it also freezes everything else on Earth so you don't miss anything. It's almost immediately broken because Robin gets peanut butter on it, and now they cannot unpause time. The entire Earth is stuck. They go around putting epic pranks on people while they are frozen whilst they are goofing around. Daryl's ship passes the Earth and notices it's paused. He is ecstatic.
It's so hard invading people's planets without them noticing and fighting back.
They challenge Daryl to hand-to-hand combat after he announces that he's going to rule the Earth.
Then my first order of business will be to completely enslave their civilization. I'm Daryl the Destroyer. and I approve this message.
And the hand-to-hand combat is ping pong. Daryl loses by a lot. Unsurprisingly, the intergalactic evil overlord doesn't keep his word and plans to destroy the Earth anyway, but his Earth destroyer doesn't work and then he leaves embarrassed. Turns out this bone that Sam found on Daryl's ship was actually the part needed to fix the remote. Then the Earth is unfrozen. Yay, Earth is not invaded. Even though the Clang robots are not trying to rule the Earth, they are creating havoc for the citizens of the Earth and their city. In the episode I Giant Robot, you want to guess what Rivet decided to build in the episode I Giant Robot? A giant robot. Shocker. The giant robot eventually malfunctions and destroys the city, so to stop it they build another giant robot, and that one also destroys the city. They did eventually stop the robot after making third giant robot that didn't work again. I would like to point out that building more robots was not their only solution to this problem.
Overreactionary shrink ray!
Boring. Are you?
Because they accidentally enlarged the washing machine and the robot tripped and fell in it. The day saved. That's how the episode ends. Rivet tried to build a fourth giant robot. I would like to mention that too. And this is like a reoccurring thing of whatever Rivet building terrorizing the people in the city that they live in. These poor people. The whole show is centered around the robots crashing and trying to get home to Clang, but they make very little effort to do this most of the time. They are just goofing around. Rivet is too busy inventing, Widget is obsessed with the human life, and Socket just explodes. They all spend all the time on their antic when they could be dedicating themselves to trying to leave. One of the times they did make an earnest attempt to go home was in the episode with Friends Like These, when Rivet's friend from their home world shows up called Harry. Turns out Harry sucked, like a lot. Literally the worst person you ever met, and times that by 10. After hanging out with him for a bit, the kids realize Harry is more like Rivet's bully than his friend, so they try and get Harry to go. Harry goes to collect his things so that he can leave, and he says, okay, I'll leave. That sentence was a complete lie. He actually stole one of Rivet's inventions and then threw at a party in the Harrison's house. Rivet finally puts his foot down and Harry promises to take them back to Clang, but as the others are cleaning up Harry's mess, he flees, leaving them on Earth. They actually do get back to Clang in the episode Back to the Clang Gang. I mean, sort of. Rivet created a device to teleport letters to Clang. Unsurprisingly, Rivet's device does not work as intended. They turn it on and it explodes. When the smoke clears, Rivet, Daisy and Robin are gone. Turns out they were teleported to Clang and Rivet is ecstatic to be home.
Hey, strange robot I've never met. You're looking good.
Robin and Daisy have to put on disguises because humans are strictly forbidden on Clang, and if found they will be in prison for eternity because this guy messed up.
And I would like to thank you for inviting me, the first human on Clang, to help you celebrate.
And everyone is still holding a grudge. They go on a tour of Clang, then sirens start to blare, announcing scanners have found traces of humans and they are being hunted down. They then go to Rivet's childhood home to get parts so they can build another letter delivery device, hoping it will send them back home. And they run into Rivet's mum, who says she hasn't seen him in 200 years. Rivet recreates his letter machine and they go to Earth, just as Widget presses the button on the original device, which sends them back to Clang. They are back on Clang and Rivet says his farewell to the kids.
Don't worry, I'll come visit you in the human maximum security hole. Maybe you'll like it there.
Just then, a space comet that will fly past Earth that they mentioned earlier in the episode, and Rivet says he can send them home in the escape pod by attaching it to the comet. But since these two are humans, they cannot control the pod, so Rivet has to go back to Earth with them, leaving Clang for who knows how long this time.
You know, and don't worry, that comet comes around every, 12 million years? So, I guess we're stuck here for a while.
You might notice I do not mention Widget or Socket much in this episode, other than when Widget presses the button. It's not because they weren't doing anything in the episode. They were. It's just that what they were doing was so inconsequential that there was no point in mentioning it. Going back to my earlier point of their characters not being important or needed most of the time. You know how I mentioned earlier that Earl's parents are spies and the Clang robots are not invading? Well, the US government would not agree with me that they are not invading. In the episode On the Run, Rivet decides to borrow one of the Earth satellites to communicate with Clang and send Socket up into space to do it. His picture gets taken by a satellite and the government freak out a bit. Just as Elle's mother is telling him that he is crazy for believing in aliens, his parents get summoned by the government and they get told that there is an alien invasion. Side note, they get to their secret underground spy cave via this random washing machine in the middle of their hallway. It's a good thing for both the parents and the robots that Earl is oblivious to his surroundings. Socket comes crashing down to Earth and they get to him before the spies do, and Rivet tells them there might be some stuff left at the recycling plant where he made a rocket from earlier. It's a really good thing Earl's parents are just as bad at hunting down aliens as he is. It must be genetic because they keep narrowly missing these robots. Also, these two are meant to be secret spies, but here they are flying through the air in broad daylight. Anyway, the spies eventually catch up to them and the sibling convince them that Socket was just a science experiment and that the reason they saw him on the satellite is because the satellite crashed down to Earth before all of this happened. Considering all the chaos that these lot caused, I'm sure that this is the first time that the government has caught on that there were aliens on Earth. There was literally an alien invention contest.
Did you hear that? The convention is on Earth, and it's in the convention center on First Street.
And massive robots terrorizing the Earth. But this is the first clue they have. They also have several references to other shows and movies in Clang Invasion. In the episode Big Dance, they reference vibranium and metal from the Marvel comics. They also cosplay as C-3PO and R2-D2 in the episode License to Drive. They also dressed as characters from The Wizard of Oz in the episode A Kung Fu Star is Born. There are just a lot of references. One thing that did bother me throughout the show is what differentiates the Clang robots and all other robots. In the episode Recycle, Reuse and Re-Robot, Widget, Rivet and Socket all talk to the thrown away machines in the dump. And in the episode Living It Upgrade, Socket is beefing a computer. So this implies that all robots are somewhat sentient to the Clang. Rivet builds a lot of robots and either discards or destroys them. This was make him the most neglectful father ever. And I just kept thinking about Dab. He just keeps killing his kids. Overall, I enjoyed the show and I hope Earl discovers aliens one day, just for his own sanity. That will be all good. Bye!